I also grew up abroad. I was born in Mexico City, and my parents were US diplomats. We lived in Honduras and Brazil as well. My mother was the environmental counselor in Brazil, so her job reflected working with the Brazilian government, nonprofits, USAID, and other stakeholders to supports sustainable supply chains, particularly in the Amazon and other biodiversity regions that require preservation and collaboration. Of course, this was in the 90s and this problem continues, and now it has become not just a public funded problem, but something that we are now seeing a lot of private investment in solutions to biodiversity, deforestation, and many creative blended finance models like what Alix was mentioning to achieve that. So that was sort of the background to my childhood that I thought, how do I bring more capital and interest to these important themes? Also, systemic inequality was causing a lot of economic instability in the region. So thinking through a more aligned approach always excited me, but I really did not know how to achieve this. I was not involved in capital markets. Fast forward, I graduated from college and felt that the government was not the right path for me since policy changes with new leadership. Law felt very slow and incremental. And some of my mentors suggested, why don't you think about finance? You speak multiple languages, you love dynamic conversations, and you love to learn. So I applied for a job at Goldman Sachs in Miami, really to start to learn and understand the markets. And I joined in 2007, right before the financial crisis. So my first few months on the job, suddenly the market was collapsing. People were selling everything they had in some cases. And we witnessed what could have been really the end of our financial system. We, of course, saw with the drivers, which have not gone away, but have been mitigated and realigned over the past 15 years, were really greed, unmitigated risk taking, betting against, whether right or wrong, the interests of the population, and or taking risks on the backs of people's homes, usually the lowest income people in the country, which then caused millions of people to lose their homes. People who had worked their whole jobs at big companies lost their jobs. So this sort of entire shift in the way we thought about risk taking occurred globally. And we're seeing some of that being unwound today, kind of when people forget why it happened to begin with. We saw a lack of governance, accountability, and transparency in the financial system led to, us, even the SEC, not understanding where risk was on different bank balance sheets. Since then, we've seen, a complete shift in how investment management and banking takes place. A lot less risk is permitted. There is more pressure to align compensation to the long term, and better governance. So when we talk about some of these themes, these really came from inequality risk at its worst, and an almost a revolution called Occupy Wall Street. So that really brought me to thinking, wow, this is clearly a mistake if we don't align all these interests in the future. Of course, we don't want a ton of red tape and regulation forcing it, but if businesses are not going to be the ones leading, there's always going to be this mismatch. So that really excited me to see, even at the time, a lot of financial institutions moving in that direction, saying, how can we offer clients products that are aligned with their values? How can we help governments support their impact goals, such as impact bonds, the first, recidivism reduction bonds and education bonds? And how do we really intentionally move forward? So that really inspired me to my work that I'm doing today with Alix.